Hey, Steeler Nation, welcome back. This is the SteelerWadeShow. Thank you for joining me. I got my hard hat on tonight. A little bit of a shout out. And to the guys that work construction, I got one commenter out there that I really do appreciate. And I thought he'd dig this. And this is a shout out also to Mark with Steelers Nation Australia, and check him out because he had a really funny hat deal. So, folks, we have got to talk about these bills. First thing before I do this and click off, I just want to give a shout out to the first responders out there. I didn't understand at one point in my life, and I just really wanted to just say thank you to those people. And if you know somebody, tell them thank you. You know, and the things that they receive and the rawness of it. So, Steeler Nation, we are going to go into Buffalo. Going in. You know what I mean? Right now, I'm in Southwest Michigan. This is where we are right here in the Palm. Notre Dame is right here. And right now, currently, it is snowing. Like a half hour ago when I was trying to get this thing together, or, you know what I mean, hour and a half ago, I'm trying. It was snowing. Right now, it's still snowing. But before, it was snowing like half Kennedy, half dollars. Just like bam, 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 big fat ones. So, you know, I'm not going to talk about the weather too much because it's just, it is. I mean, I can only imagine. This is just, we're Michiganders. They're Buffalonians. You know what I mean? It's just a thing. So I'm not going to go into that whole weather thing that all these people want to talk about. The one thing I will say, here in Southwest Michigan, it's going to be -1 for the low and 9 for the high. You know, so it'll be cold here. So, but more importantly, I heard something out on another podcast, and I'm not exactly sure where I heard it from, but it's a reference to Seinfeld. And maybe some of these older cats or some younger ones that are into retro TV shows will enjoy. There's a scene where Kramer is trying to convince to bet on this horse that he has an inside track on. And he says, which I related to Najee. Najee is a mutter. His mother was a mutter. And I thought that was cool. I can't get that off my mind. I hope you enjoy that too. For all those people who like Seinfeld, I loved you. You know, we got tons of safeties. Tons. Ain't that something? Like, I was thinking Thompson was going to be coming back after the playoffs. And so he's going to be on IR. But we still have Rowe and all this with KZ and Mink and, you know. And we still have, I know you don't want to hear about it, but we have Sullivan, we got Wallace. They're going to put Patrick Peterson back at the corner, I assume, for at least part of it. I still believe that Levi Wallace will be a turning point. There's going to be something about him. He has that about him. I know I said it about with the Ravens game, and it didn't happen, but I still feel that Wallace is going to have an impact. Or at least a play around Wallace, you know? I think it was cool that they ended up moving the practices to the stadium. It's a little, you know, I mean, not to be all secretive, you know, my little soap operas. You know, I'm thinking like, oh, they're doing some new trick shit. You know what I mean? But It is harder to get in the stadium, but they're going to say it's about the turf. But what was cool, it was a super cool dick move of Tomlin to make him play in the weather. Right? I think, you think, you have to think. That's what the players think. They're like, come on, coach. And the ones that are like, come on, coach, that's who you keep. And the others, you figure out, And it's like, it's a dick move, but you got to appreciate a good dick move. It is what it is. And so I'm excited about that. And, Najee has been getting his flowers, and he rightfully so deserves it. In fact, I'm like, where is he going to end up ranking? He's the only Steeler that's done the 1,000-yard triple, And like, what happens if he turns it on tomorrow? Sunday, or whenever you're watching. But, he could be a legend. A legend. So, I like the idea of the stuff being moved into the stadium, along with the weather, I'm not going to talk about that, along with TJ Watt. I'm not going to talk too much about that, except for, I want you to appreciate that Marcus Golden's nickname is Junk. Junk. Man, I used to sneak in the junkyards when I was younger and steal stuff and Playboy magazines, and we won't go there, but I know ghetto. I know junk. Junkyard dog. That's what they called him. And it stuck. And those big old long arms. Like, I want to go like this so you can see how long my arms are. They're Dutch, so they're not very long. But, I don't know. I love me. It was ever since the very first locker room interview of Golden. It was just like this feeling like, you are a Steeler. You are, and I've said it in my past podcast when he came on, I was like, can you guys feel something special here? I'm not saying he's special, but this guy is a Steeler. And he's just a long-armed. And then, y'all know about Nick. I don't know who that fourth guy is. His name is Johnson or something. But I wish it was Paralysis. If you watch my show, you know that I know that you know that I know that I wish it was David Paralysis being that other guy. Come on, Paralysis. But they have another guy, I think his name is Johnson or something. I wish they had enough faith in him that they could put a 3 outside linebacker setup with that 3 out. Oh, those 3 safeties in the back row. Oh, KZ. Man, I see KZ hitting the motherfucker so hard this game. I see KZ hitting somebody into Neptune. So, that's just an early prediction. I don't see Diggs being the threat that he is. I just don't see it. And I don't think the Steelers are going to respect him as far as that goes. As far as the double teaming that we've seen on different players or different positions. But I don't think the Steelers are going to really pay Diggs as much respect as the majority conversation thinks they're going to. I think Porter's just going to shut that shit down. I'm going to shut it down. And I think we're going to have plenty of people out there. You know, they run this nickel defense, and I can only imagine, like, and the thing about it is that, like, they don't really stray away from it. Even in hard times, they don't stray away from it. And can you imagine a bloodthirsty fucking offensive line? When these teams go light and they go smaller and get more athletic, pretty boy, that is when it seems like, and it's so pretty when it works out, the trap block. And it seems like that is what, like, just handicaps athletic lines when they're not bruisers. You know, when a team goes with an athletic defensive situation, which they're fast and you know, but you know, hey. But there are downfalls. There are downfalls. The thing about, I'm petty. You know, this is going to be a little bit longer podcast. I am petty. I am a petty person. And I have fallen in love with Omar Khan. And if I was Omar Khan and being as petty as I am, I would be saying, look how many times, I would be the coach T, look how many times Washington has been open in the last 8 games. There's like 3 of them every game. Now, Kincaid is one of the people. I don't think they're going to pay that much attention to Diggs. I think Porter's going to be on Diggs, and that's that. I think that the second person that I think that they need to pay attention to is Kincaid. There's where Mink comes in. If I was Omar, I'd be petty as shit, and I'd be like, kids, please, like, I watch State of the Steelers, and he does the all-22, and there's more than once, where Washington's been open in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks as another play's happening, you know, and there's a familiarity. I said it, I thought it was going to happen in the Ravens game. I thought it was something that was going to be needed, but it might be needed in this Bills game. Mason and Washington have a, you know, they've done more things together being on a second team. You know, I talked earlier about the flowers given to Najee, and he deserves it. You know, please stop looking at Warren, you know, and give him the ball and let him do 90 yards Sunday, you know, right? And it's this two-headed dragon, right? Combating the Cook Allen dragon, you know? But you know what? I heard this really neat interview on Arthur Moats with Deke. And it was Calvin Austin. I'll put a link down there. And I'm not going to say anything about the interview except that it was wonderful. It was wonderful. You have to listen to this man that's playing for our team. I don't know what. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. I'll put a link down there below. And But there's another part is Austin. There's Austin. There is a part in Austin in this running game. Remember those jet sweeps that we bitched about so much? Haven't you kind of forgotten about them? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe Austin's going to be a part of this. Maybe Washington is going to be a part of this. They're light. They run light. If I was light, I want to tackle Washington. Like I said, shout out to the all-22 takes from Steelers. That's Daniel. So, this is where it probably goes downhill. You know, this is kind of crazy about the whole spread, right? Went like 9.5, 10, 9, whatever, you know. I've said many times on a podcast that I don't bet on the Steelers anymore because of the 94 game against San Diego. We were 11-point favorites. And I bet $50 that we would make it even more than that. And we lost. 11-point favorites. What are the Bills? 10? In 2005, when we made that run, we were 11-point underdogs. This time we're the underdogs, but we're the underdogs to the Colts with Peyton Manning, right? But, you know, Peyton Manning was always the superstar during the season, never pulled it off during the playoffs, and the Pittsburgh Steelers were one of those exclamation points, you know. So, don't, you know, if you wanted to just feel better when you go to sleep at night, just figure all the odds makers are Steeler fans. I didn't want to make, you know, a couple bucks here and there. You know, I am happy about Faulkner in this situation as far as like we're going to have to run, you know, and these have got to be all the ideas that he has had, all the things that he wanted to bring up. You can't imagine like somebody that's excuse me. I'm just proud of my team. I'm proud of Curry. I'm proud of Austin. You know, I don't know if you guys have heard of the law of attraction, but Austin, Coach Austin, is a big proponent. I don't want to say the word believer, that's a weird word, but proponent. He associates, you know, and more power to him, you know, and to him in the future with everything he does. You know, I am running along, but you have this talk about the mediocre Mike, and you have these talk about the mediocre seasons and stuff like that. But when a team does subscribe to a running game, when they do that, whether you believe the Steelers have done that, that's up to you. But when they do that, they are susceptible to being at best equal to a high passing game in the regular season with neutral conditions. But a team that emphasizes the importance on running, if that team were to make it to the playoff, to the January ball games, you have a higher chance of playing in a place where there's going to be less than perfect field position, field conditions. Yeah, you may hit a dome, but I mean, the percentages are, it's going to be not as good as it could have been in November. Maybe that's where it pays off. Maybe that's where I don't know. Maybe that's where the Steelers are righteous. I hope it is. The reason why I'm thinking about it is like, remember when we went like 11-0 and like halfway through, you've got to been feeling like we don't deserve a lot of these wins. Like we're not that great, And it showed up when the colder months came around. I don't know. It's just a little side note. Bold prediction. It was crazy that Nick Saban left Alabama, and Najee gave him some beautiful words. Beautiful words. Beautiful. It was really nice. And Mink, has always been associated with being his son, being his 2.0. I think the two men from Alabama, I think Tomlin, out of respect for one of the greatest football coaches that has ever been, Tomlin will make sure that Najee Harris and Mink are going to be in positions to make that man proud on Sunday afternoon. We're going to beat the Bills. We're going to beat the Bills. I'm telling you. Tomlin is going to have the respect for Saban, and he is going to find that magic. Those two Alabama boys are going to show up. And those the Georgia boys aren't going to be showing up by no Alabama boys. Pittsburgh. We're going to beat them. 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 And you know why we're going to beat them? Is because this weather happens like the way we want it. It's going to snow. And it's going to snow heavy. And you know what happens when it snows? We're going to be in our camouflage, yo. We're going to be wearing this black, yo. No, we're going to be wearing that blanco, white. That's a snow camouflage. Folks, please press like. I appreciate you spending so much time with me. If you subscribe, I would like that, and that really makes me grin. Please give me some more comments. Comments. Like chia. No. Steeler Nation.